Book in 10 minutes. Follow us for more.
To Kill a Mockingbird is a novel by Harper Lee, first published in 1960. The story is set in the fictional town of Macomb, Alabama, during the 1930s, and is told from the perspective of a young girl named Jean Louise Scout Finch. The novel explores the themes of racial injustice, prejudice, and the loss of innocence. The central plot revolves around the trial of Tom Robinson, a black man who was falsely accused of raping a white woman. Scout's father, Atticus Finch, is the defense attorney in the trial, and he becomes the target of hatred and violence from some members of the community who disagree with his defense of Tom. Through the trial and the events that follow, the novel examines the nature of courage, morality, and social inequality. Scout and her brother Jem learn valuable lessons about empathy and understanding as they encounter a range of characters, including their mysterious neighbor Boo Radley. The novel also addresses the importance of family and community, and the role of education in shaping one's perspective on the world. In the end, Scout's realization of the complexities of human nature and the dangers of prejudice and ignorance help her to better understand the world around her and the people in it. To Kill a Mockingbird is widely regarded as a classic of modern American literature and has been adapted into numerous films, plays, and other works of art. The novel's legacy continues to influence discussions about race, justice, and morality in contemporary society. Chapter 1 sets the stage for the story and introduces the main characters. The narrator, Scout Finch, describes her family history and the small town of Macomb, Alabama, where she lives. Scout begins by recounting how her ancestor, Simon Finch, came to settle in Macomb and make a fortune. She then introduces her father, Atticus Finch, a lawyer who is respected in the community for his integrity and compassion. Scout's older brother, Jem, is introduced as a typical boy who enjoys playing outside and getting into mischief with his friends. Scout herself is a young girl who is curious about the world around her, but sometimes struggles to understand the complexities of adult behavior. The story then shifts to a mysterious figure in Macomb named Arthur Boo Radley, who is rumored to be a recluse and perhaps even dangerous. Jem and his friends become fascinated with Boo Radley and make it their mission to see him and coax him out of his house. The chapter ends with Scout describing how her father defends Tom Robinson, a black man accused of raping a white woman, and how this trial will soon divide the town of Macomb along racial lines. Scout begins her first day of school, and we learn that her teacher, Miss Caroline Fisher, is new to Macomb and has a different teaching style. When Scout tries to explain the Cunningham family's poverty and why Walter Cunningham won't take Miss Caroline's money for lunch, she is punished. After school, Scout and Jem walk home with Walter, and Calpurnia, their black cook, invites Walter to stay for lunch, showing Scout the importance of hospitality. Scout is frustrated with her teacher's methods, so Atticus encourages her to try to see things from Miss Caroline's point of view. Scout and Jem also begin finding small treasures in a knothole of a tree on the Radley property, including chewing gum, a ball of twine, and 2 soap carvings. Jem and Scout act out Boo Radley's life and their own ideas of him, but Atticus tells them to stop. The knothole is filled with cement, so the kids leave a note hoping that whoever sealed it is not too mad. Scout is then invited to the First Lady's Tea of the Year at Miss Maudie Atkinson's house, where she learns more about Atticus's defense of Tom Robinson and the importance of empathy. Jem and Dill create a new game about Boo Radley, but Atticus catches them and tells them to stop. Jem then tells Scout and Dill about the time he found his pants folded and mended on the Radley fence, leading them to imagine how Boo Radley might be watching over them. Jem decides to go back for his pants and finds them mended again, leading to his realization that Boo is not a monster, but a person who has been leaving them gifts in the knothole. Jem and Dill plan to leave a note for Boo in the Radley house window with a fishing pole, but Atticus catches them and warns them to respect Boo's privacy. Later that night, Jem and Scout sneak out to fulfill their plan, but they are caught in a wire fence and have to escape by leaving Jem's pants behind. They return home safely, but Jem is upset about losing his pants and the embarrassment of being caught. The next day, the children find the pants mended and folded on the fence. Scout realizes that Boo Radley must have done it, and she and Jem become more curious about their reclusive neighbor. Jem and Scout receive more gifts in the knothole, including a ball of gray twine, 2 carved soap figures resembling themselves, and a spelling medal. Nathan Radley, Boo's older brother, fills the knothole with cement, and Jem admits to Atticus that they have been receiving gifts from Boo. Atticus tells Jem to leave Boo alone, and Scout worries about getting in trouble for having the soap carvings. Maycomb experiences a rare snowfall, and Jem and Scout build a snowman in their yard resembling Miss Maudie's house. They are surprised to see that it looks like it has morphed into a likeness of Mr. Avery, their neighbor. Miss Maudie's house catches on fire, and the town gathers to help put it out. Scout realizes that someone has draped a blanket around her, but she doesn't know who did it. Scout begins the school year and is taunted by a boy named Cecil Jacobs about Atticus defending Tom Robinson. Atticus explains to Scout that he is defending Tom because he believes in the justice system and it is the right thing to do. He also warns her that there will be more talk and threats, and that she should not fight anyone over it. Scout and Jem are impressed to learn that their father is known as the deadest shot in Maycomb County when he shoots a rabid dog. They are also visited by their Aunt Alexandra, who disapproves of their tomboyish ways and wants them to behave more like proper Southern ladies. She also encourages Atticus to talk to the children about their family history and their place in Maycomb society. Atticus is called to defend Tom Robinson in court, and Jem and Scout attend the trial with Calpurnia. They see firsthand the racial prejudice and injustice of the legal system, as well as the courage and dignity of Tom Robinson. They also witness the harsh treatment of Atticus by some members of the community for representing a black man. Jem becomes upset and disillusioned with the town and the justice system. Calpurnia takes Jem and Scout to her church, which is called First Purchase African ME Church. The children are surprised to see how different the church is from their own, with people speaking in a different dialect and singing in a different style. The congregation welcomes them warmly, and they learn more about Calpurnia's life and background. Aunt Alexandra comes to stay with the Finches for a while and attempts to instill her sense of family pride and Southern tradition in the children. She is particularly concerned with Scout's behavior and tries to make her more ladylike. Jem and Scout also overhear Alexandra and Atticus discussing the possibility of Scout going to a feminine education school in Mobile. Dill returns to Maycomb for the summer, and the children begin to play a new game called One Man's Family, in which they act out different family roles. They also become curious about Boo Radley again, and Dill proposes that they try to give him a note through a window. When they approach the Radley house, Nathan Radley comes out with a shotgun and fires it into the air, causing the children to scatter. As Tom Robinson's trial approaches, tensions in Maycomb rise, and Jem and Scout overhear people in the town making disparaging remarks about Atticus and the case. They are also confronted by their cousin Frances, who taunts them with racist slurs. When Scout hits him, she is punished by her Uncle Jack, who lectures her on the importance of self-control and not fighting. The trial begins, and the town is crowded with people who want to witness the proceedings. Jem, Scout, and Dill sneak into the courthouse and sit in the balcony, where they can see the events unfold. Atticus makes a strong case for Tom's innocence, but the prosecution attempts to undermine his credibility and question the validity of his story. The trial continues, and the key witness is called to the stand, Mayella Ewell, the alleged victim. She tells a story that implicates Tom Robinson in the crime, but Atticus manages to get her to contradict herself and reveal inconsistencies in her testimony. It becomes clear that Mayella's father, Bob Ewell, has physically abused her and is the real perpetrator of the crime. The final witness is Tom Robinson, who testifies that he was simply trying to help Mayella with a chore and did not attack her. However, when the prosecutor cross-examines him, Tom reveals that he felt sorry for Mayella because of her difficult life, which angers the white audience. Despite Atticus's best efforts, the jury ultimately finds Tom guilty. After the trial, Tom Robinson is sent to prison, and Atticus is devastated by the outcome. The children are also affected by the verdict, especially Jem, who struggles to understand how the jury could have found Tom guilty. Meanwhile, Bob Ewell, the real culprit, threatens Atticus and other members of the Finch family. At a community gathering, a group of white men confront Atticus and tell him that he should not have defended Tom Robinson. They also insult him for associating with black people and warn him to stop or face the consequences. However, Atticus remains firm in his beliefs and refuses to back down. Calpurnia takes Jem and Scout to her church again, where they witness a powerful sermon by a visiting preacher named Reverend Sykes. Despite the fact that they are the only white people in attendance, they are welcomed warmly and shown respect. They also see the strength and resilience of the African American community in the face of adversity. Atticus tells Jem and Scout that Tom Robinson has been killed while trying to escape from prison, and they are devastated by the news. Atticus explains that the justice system is not always fair and that there are many people who are prejudiced and ignorant. However, he also emphasizes the importance of continuing to fight for what is right and just. The aftermath of the trial continues to affect the town of Macomb, with many people criticizing Atticus for defending Tom Robinson. The children also face criticism at school for their father's actions, and Scout gets into a fight with a classmate who insults Atticus. Meanwhile, Aunt Alexandra comes to stay with the Finches and tries to instill a sense of tradition and pride in the family. The town is abuzz with the news that Tom Robinson's widow, Helen, is struggling to provide for her family after her husband's death. Atticus offers to help her find work, but Bob Ewell, who is still angry about the trial, harasses and threatens her. When the children tell Atticus what has happened, he goes to the Ewell house and confronts Bob. The annual Halloween pageant is coming up, and Scout is excited to dress up and perform. However, on the way home from the pageant, Jem and Scout are attacked by someone in the dark. Jem is badly injured, and Scout is unable to see who their attacker was. Jem recovers from his injuries, but he is traumatized by the attack and struggles to come to terms with what happened. The sheriff investigates the incident and discovers that Bob Ewell was responsible for the attack. However, he decides to cover up the truth and tells Atticus that Jem must have fallen and hurt himself. Scout realizes the truth and understands that the sheriff has made the decision to protect Jem and the town from the truth. Jem is still struggling to come to terms with the attack, and Scout tries to comfort him. Meanwhile, Aunt Alexandra continues to try to instill a sense of tradition and pride in the family, and Jem and Scout are unhappy with her strict rules and expectations. They also continue to be taunted by their classmates because of their father's defense of Tom Robinson. The town holds a Halloween pageant, and Scout is excited to perform in her ham costume. However, on the way home, she and Jem are attacked by an unknown assailant. Jem is knocked unconscious, and Scout is saved by someone who carries her back to the Finch house. When the police arrive, they find Bob Ewell dead and assume that he fell on his own knife. The identity of the person who saved Scout is revealed to be Boo Radley, the reclusive neighbor who has been the subject of many rumors and myths. Scout finally meets him and sees that he is a kind and gentle person. She also realizes the depth of his loneliness and how unfair it is to judge people based on rumors and hearsay. Sheriff Tate arrives at the Finch house and tells Atticus that Jem did not kill Bob Ewell. The wound on his chest was made by a kitchen knife, not a switchblade like the one Jem had. Tate realizes that it was Boo Radley who killed Bob Ewell, and decides to cover it up to protect Boo from the attention and scrutiny of the town. Scout walks Boo Radley home and sees her neighborhood from his perspective. She realizes that he has been watching over her and her brother for years, and that he is not the monster that people have made him out to be. She also understands that Atticus was right when he said that it is important to try to see things from other people's point of view.
Thanks. Watch our other videos.